Don't be hating on my water. I'm trying to stay hydrated, okay?
I've never seen that. Is what, 2 liters right there? That is
It's not
ridiculous.
enough. It's not enough.
Too
So
much.
we have, after a month hiatus, gone back to the brand doctor show. It's good to have my twin on the show, Doc. Thank you for
Love
being
it.
here, sir.
I was inspired by you. Thank you very
No,
much.
thank
Glad
you,
to be
thank you.
back.
So, as we were talking about before the call, I got back into the gym. After I moved, I was very inadequate when it came to content, and I felt like I wasn't actually doing much in general. And so my output wasn't very great. And over the last couple of years, I had only been working out maybe once or twice a week with a client. And so I wasn't really gaining any progress. If anything, I was barely maintaining what I had. And post COVID, I was lifting pretty heavy, but I wasn't lifting often enough to burn off the fat that I had. And prior to COVID, I did a lot of reps and I was pretty thin. And so for the last 5 years, I had some fat, I had a lack of strength that I could build back up. And so when I moved here, my gym that's close by was very close. I could walk to it very quickly. I decided to start going like once or twice a day. And so I've gone to one gym 3 times, twice working out here at home. But at this new gym, I worked out 68 times since June 12th.
Wow.
So about 70
68
times total.
times?
Yeah.
Wow. What is that? Like, you doing 5 days a week? How many days is that?
Like 6 days a week for the most part. I mean, I am taking a rest day, but even then on the rest days, sometimes I'm doing something minor. I also try to listen to my body. There was a couple of days where I was like, I am dying. So I did take I took a weekend off. And so I went in to do the hydro massage, but that was it. And yeah.
I love it,
So I
man. How you
burned off
feeling?
fat. I burned off fat on my obliques, my face. I'm
You
gaining
look
the
great.
muscle back. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
This is great. This is great.
Got a really good pump today, though, because I did biceps. So
See that? Look at that. That's why you want to record only on bicep day. I see what's going on here. I see what happens. And look at that.
yesterday was triceps and chest, and oh my gosh, I was destroyed.
How many? What's the sessions? 90 minutes, 60 minutes per day? What are you thinking?
It's really a matter of just until I get the things that I want to get done. I haven't been like super good about timing as much, especially since like in the mornings I go in and I just do a couple exercises, maybe some cardio, and then in the evenings where I have my main meat of the exercise. And I've been getting to the point where I'm doing like 85% of my workout. So for context, I made a workout regimen prior and it was insane, as you can probably imagine, knowing me. Like
Yeah.
you know me better than most. So I put way too much exercises and they weren't really organized super well, in my opinion. I revamped it, got it a little bit more logical, and I was able to go from like 65% completion of all the exercises to like 85 or 90%. And so I guess a lot better.
I love it. I love it. Well, I love it. It's resetting everything for the next 4 or 5 months of the year. Love to hear
Yeah.
it, man. Love to hear it.
And definitely, I think it's also building up habits too. So going off of that, like content creators, we have habits of making content consistently, and if your other habits in life aren't consistent, that's gonna feed into that.
Yeah, yeah. I love, speaking of like habits and everything, I was with a friend of mine, like they're just getting into working out. And you know this, working out life, I don't talk about my workouts that often because I'm like
Hmm.
walking, all this stuff. Well, you always know when people are new in the gym because they're constantly talking about their sets and everything. But I think also too, resetting, that's not a problem when it's like, hey, putting everything back in routine. I'm getting everything in. Now it just becomes part of life and
Hmm.
now routine, and it's great to see. So love to hear it, man. I was thinking about doing 5 days possibly. One of my friends does that. I'm close enough to the gym. Might try it out. Might try it out. We'll see.
I mainly did 6 days because there were so many exercises that I wanted to do. And to be honest, I am kind of skipping the ab day because I do enough abs with the rest of the days I'm doing. But it's also kind of lazy because a lot of it's like leg raises and like to the bar and stuff like that. I'm like, I just really don't, I can't be arsed to be doing some of that. And so I'm trying to make sure I get consistent because like with the previous version of the workout, I could never do a full week of all the exercises. I've gotten pretty close to doing a full week the last couple of weeks doing this new regimen. And I've been working out prior to that without the new revamped workout, just kind of systematically. But
I love it. I love it.
yeah.
Also, too, I mean, wherever you want to start, I have a new setup. I would love to
Mhm.
get you're already talking about what's going on, what I need to change as we were talking about this, but we can go through it. Where do you want to begin? Do you want to just catch up? What do you want?
I think catching up was good. I do notice you have the two Batmans kissing behind you there.
Yeah. First of all, that's not true. A couple of things are happening here. So I'm working with Mighty, and I'm one of their creators in residence, creating communities and things like that. And we're testing out. I'm going to be creating content for them, and they're like, "Hey, we need you. Like, your setup is good, but we want a couple things dialed in." So we changed some things with the Roadcaster, like how the audio performs. So I
Hmm.
can at first I was like, I don't really think there's a difference. Even listening to the last couple of videos, did that, got a new lens, got a new kit light, but because of that, had to change some of the white balance and everything. So that's what's been trying to dial that in and
And getting the
everything like
ISO
that.
right too is probably a big deal.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So just learning how to do that because I was just using a kit lens. Now I'm using a bigger lens and just looking at what I need to do. So yeah, still experimenting. It's been about a week, and yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Because you use like professional cameras. I'm using the Elgato Facecam Pro, and just kind of mentioning is out there. I don't know if you saw this, but they actually released a new 4K 60 webcam, and that's pretty cool. And it has like little lenses you can put on it too, which is pretty
They're
cool.
they're really trying to do it. Yeah, I got also I got like I had to check. I have like a small gimbal now, a
Mm.
360. I can't remember.
It's the
It's like an
360.
Insta 360. Yep, got that when I was traveling. Pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
This one, as you can see, like there's a little bit more of a bokeh. If you see it, focus for a second. There we go.
Yeah.
So it's not bad. I just have to do better. I'm still working on some things. But
I'm trying to see if you're peaking because I feel like I keep hearing like higher spikes sometimes when you're speaking.
also check it out. Let me know. The other thing is too. What did I do for you? I'm using the Elgato Cam Link because you're always yelling at me for 720. So right now it's it can go
1080p. I'm so
higher.
proud. I don't do 4K myself, to be honest. I don't
Yeah,
see the point. The 4K down to 1080p makes it a lot more sharper, which is why I
yeah,
like doing this. And also, too, I just figured like it's good for me to future proof a little bit to have that 4K
yeah.
available, especially since I want to start streaming more. It might be more worthwhile. And that's something we could talk about. I want to mention right at the bat, I got some new headphones. And we talked about getting equipment like on Marketplace before and stuff like that. I even got this Logitech keyboard, the TKL. Okay, so let's talk about this real quick. This is the keyboard I've been wanting for like the last 4 years, right? It's
I
normally
love it.
$230, $200 when it's like kind of like on a normal price. I think it went down to like 160 recently, but normally it's like $200, right? Guess how much I paid for this?
Did you get it on Marketplace?
Mm-hmm.
65.
40.
Ooh,
That is insane. And then I got these headphones, Skull Candy player headphones, which I've not
yeah,
ever seen this particular model. Like I've known Skull Candy for half my life. I've
yeah.
used them for ages. Never seen this particular model headphones, but I was at Walmart one day looking at some Walmart headphones to upgrade from these, like $15 ones. And I was like, I'm not convinced. Micro USB on it too, and like the quality just seemed like kind of off. And so I looked over in the clearance area. They had like a little locked cage. They had like HyperX, a microphone and some random keyboard. But in the corner, in the very back on the side, was these Skull Candy headphones that are normally $130, and I got it for 52.
Bro,
Wireless
those are
headphones,
nice.
high quality.
I like them. I like
It's
them.
like you're sitting right in front of me. I can hear you.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why my audio, you're like, this is out of control. Let me check. Let me see my sound. I changed some of basically we went through like the sound check and they were talking about I'm using the Rodecaster, but they're saying a lot of the processing and what goes through with it and using the Shure mic, it was actually he showed me a before and after. And I'm like, man, I didn't not a like a sound.
Audiophile kind of thing.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I'm not, but like he can tell you like, oh, this is too high, this is so I'm still working on the dialing it in, but that's what I have
I
so
need to
far.
kind of do the same thing with this Blue Yeti. And we've talked about the issues I've had with it in the past, including the little cable issue with the micro USB being just outdated. And they have Blue Yeti voice, like a Blue Voice feature on the LG Hub app. But the problem is, it just like the presets are good, but if you do it yourself, it's a lot better. And it's really hard sometimes because I think sometimes it resets, or if you have to reinstall the app. I'm going through operating systems like crazy. Oh, since we last talked too, I had to send in my mini PC back to Hong Kong to get it like repaired
What?
or replaced. Because I've complained to you for ages where it's like I've had issues with the fans just ramping up like crazy,
Yeah.
100%. Literally, I'll turn on the computer, nothing's open, and it's going 100%. And then randomly it'll turn on, like the fans will crank up, and it was really bad even when I'm barely using the processing. And then the USB issues, the USB controller built into the PC, it had two USB-C 4 ports, and anytime you plugged anything, whether it was for charging or data or anything like that, on the second connection, if you had like I had my camera connected to one of them, and I tried to plug in this other camera there too, because I want to have the vertical and the horizontal cameras as separate things, or even just like a portable monitor that I got, it would just make both fail. They both would stop working. And even if I unplugged it, it wouldn't start work. The camera stopped working. So for like 2 weeks, my camera wasn't working on my computer. I couldn't record anything. I couldn't do meetings like this. And no matter if I restarted the computer a handful of times or whatever, I don't even know how I fixed it originally, because that's like the third or fourth time it happened to me. But the first 2 times I managed to fix it. This time I was just like, I can't. And so I have my old desktop running things now, but it's still pretty loud and obnoxious.
There was a what well, first of all, since the last time we talked, you've switched the design of your room again.
Oh, this is temporary. I'm not very much of a fan of how this looks, especially since this whole blank space over here. I might put a poster up at some point, but it's all out of blank space.
I gotcha. Oh, we got to talk about okay, what are we going to talk about? I've got to talk about
We have-
Descript.
Yeah, we
We've
have
gotta-
like probably tools to talk about too and
Yeah.
whatnot.
Wherever you want to go with this. I'm good, man. I'm good.
I'm trying to think. I mean, tool wise, I haven't found a whole lot of new ones, and I knew I should have made a notepad of the different tools I'm thinking of. I think self.so might be one of them. Yeah. So why don't I just share my screen, sir?
Yeah, do it.
Okay. Trying to make sure it's the right like aspect ratio. Okay, share screen. And then if you have a tool, we can talk about that too. So I came across this one where it basically takes your LinkedIn and makes it into a personal website. And I sent it to you a while back too, which is pretty cool. And then I'm trying to think of, I thought I sent you one too. I don't know if I have Twitter logged in. Dang it. Do you have anything right off the bat?
I think it would be a longer conversation if I bring up my trials and tribulations of Descript.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. There's just a lot of different things. What I was going to do, actually, I was going to try something on you. There is what I'm trying to do is a lot more reactionary stuff
Mm-hmm.
when I see like AI news and everything like that. So I'll give you an example. On LinkedIn, I saw the president of AppSumo, and I was looking at what he was posting about
Mm-hmm.
and what their tech stack was about AI and everything. And then I was going to start talking about, hey, here's what I would use instead. Do I like what they're doing? All of those things. But be like, hey, this is a president of an 8-figure company. Look at what he's using for his team and how he's using. So I have that, and I could go through a couple of the things that he's using, things that I like and what I don't like. But we can kind of talk about Descript because I'm using Descript. I'm trying to shift over my production to 85 to 90% using Descript for my new videos on YouTube. So, yeah, I would love to talk about that, but wherever you want to go, man.
Yeah, I have a buddy, actually the person I was staying with in DC, that when we were hanging out, you and I, they're using Descript now and kind of like basically moving fully into Descript in Google as their tech stack. And it's just interesting because I'm wanting to use Descript rooms, and I'm actually going to be going to the podcasting conference later in August. And I'm probably going to see Descript there and talk to them again there.
Which podcasting one? You going to the one?
Podcast Movement? I want to share my few links here, and then we can talk about Descript more.
So you're going to Dallas.
Yeah. And then I got to go back to Dallas in October for Vid Summit too.
Okay. So I will see you there.
Okay, finally, getting you to go out more.
Yeah.
So
I can't go to Dallas twice, unfortunately.
I kind of have to, but so this is a new beta, and this is, I don't know if you remember that tweet exchange I had sent you with the CEO of Restream. So just a little bit of a tangent here, Doc. You know where this is going. I can't stand it when people who make tools think their tool is the best and they haven't innovated in half a decade. That's what I'm starting off with it there. You got the red solo cup. Oh my gosh. What is this, a frat house?
First of all, it's water. I go to Costco all the time. I get things in bulk. Keep going.
Okay. So Meld Studio tweeted out something, and then the CEO of Restream went on a tirade. I thought it was just one tweet being kind of snappy or whatever. Turns out it was like a multi-tweet thread of just like kind of chewing out Meld Studio and not being very friendly, if you will. That's the best way I'm going to put it. And I saw just one of the tweets, and I thought it was pretty, what's the word? Lack of awareness of the market is kind of where I was thinking of it. Like, just out of touch, if you will.
Hmm.
And as someone who loves multi-streaming tools, like you and I have talked about Stream Elements for OBS or Atom for OBS, and they're really amazing on there. But with those tools, you have to have enough internet bandwidth and CPU processing to manage multiple streams. And if your computer can't handle that, you can only do 2 streams, 3 streams, versus like the 8 that you probably should be doing, in my opinion. We can get into that if you like as well. And so, really, the only other tools that can distribute it for you, if you just send out the vertical and horizontal, you're sending out 2 streams and it syndicates it to other platforms for you, is Restream and Streamlabs. And I've told you in the past, I don't really count Restream because they only do horizontal and their pricing model is way too expensive. It's even more than Streamlabs, and Streamlabs does 10 times as many things as Restream does, especially if you look at CrossClip and Talk Studio and all the other tools you get access to. And I don't really like Streamlabs because of their history and the UI is not my thing. I don't like the UI of it. But it was like the only tool I could think of that could actually handle syndicating my content. They also had a partnership with TikTok. So if you want to stream to TikTok, that was one of the best ways. Now there's some other ways of doing that, which is nice. And in response to the CEO of Restream's tantrum, Meld came out with this multi beta. And essentially, you hook this up with some keys, and I'm not sure exactly how it works. I need to talk to them more about it, but I want people to be aware of it because it's in beta right now. But it's free. It's basically like the benefit of Streamlabs, having that syndication and multi-streaming for you, but it's free. And that, I think, is really cool.
Correct me. So tell me more about this because I thought you could multi-stream to unmeld anyway.
So again, that is the difference between the multi-streaming where you're doing it yourself or the multi-streaming where they're doing it for you in the cloud.
I see. I see. I
In
see. I
the
see.
normal meld, you could do it like the Stream Elements or Atom plugin, where you can multi-stream, but you have to handle all the streams yourself.
Yeah.
This allows you to be like Streamlabs, where it handles it for you.
I love it. Let me look this up right now. I'm getting it right now.
And then the next link I had to share with you guys, I'm a little bit ticked off because I was like, let me make my own stack with you guys, and they kind of ignored me. But I was like, hey, I'm a PKM expert too. Like, hear me out, guys. But this is a really cool thing by Tool Finder where they have all these different creators and they're talking about their different tool stacks. And
I
so
like
maybe you
that.
should come on here and just be like, oh, Tim Ferriss is using like Scrivener for his writing or whatever. And maybe we could even do it together if there's a lot of overlap with like PKM and your automation stuff.
Bro, I'm gonna just jack this whole thing that they did.
And
It's a
so
good idea.
I really like this. And if I had enough time to like work on poly tools, I probably would have come up with something like this as well. So Francesco, love you, dude. Like I hope you reach out to me too so I can give my stack. And then finally, the last tool was just something I kind of saw randomly. It's kind of like a use screen alternative, if you will, allowing you to make your own kind of like video site.
What is it called?
Open.video. And I sent
That's
that to you
interesting.
too.
Interesting. Yeah. There's
So I see you didn't check my messages, Doc.
First of all, I did. I hearted a few. Okay. I'm really trying to cut down on how much social media I use.
That's something I wanted to talk to you about, by the way.
Yeah. I've been, so a couple of things happened. Okay. Have we even talked about how my account kept getting hacked on Twitter?
So no, I don't remember doing
God.
once. So, and that was
Yeah.
recently. I forgot
So
to ask.
this is just tons of things happening. Basically, basically months ago, I thought it would be a great idea to have a call-in show with the internet, and that was a mistake. And a random guy got on the stream and was crazy, and I had to boot him off, and he starts making threats, and you don't know who you're dealing with. I've basically released all your information to one of my discords. I started getting flooded with stuff. So if you look at, I had to stream only from certain accounts. I can't stream on Twitter, all of these things. And on top of this, one of his groups, there was a crypto group that hacked my account and started replaying some of my live streams like it was me, but putting a wallet. This is
Mm-hmm.
very similar if people have seen it like on they did this with like Elon with Tesla and stuff. This happened on YouTube a couple years back, but this one was on mine, and then people were saying that I was scamming them and promoting these coins. It was out of control. So it's happened twice. I've told Twitter, I've shown them proof, all this stuff, and they're just like, can't do much about it. Sorry, man.
Thanks, Elon.
Yeah, and so I have to decrease what I do on Twitter now, which was
Mm,
my main thing. And so that happened, and I was just reevaluating of how much time I want to spend on the internet with how many people, I don't really care that much, but like a lot of racial slurs, a lot of things that they were just going after me. And to tell you the truth, years ago, I stopped messing with crypto. I like crypto, I just don't talk about it online because people are insane. They started mentioning my wife in some of the posts, and that was really strange. So that's when I was like, okay, I gotta stop doing that kind of thing. So that's why I mainly just stay with no code and everything with vibe coding. It's a lot less.
toxic.
Yeah. So that's been happening the
Jeez.
last couple months. And that's when I text you. I was like, bro, could you just report this thing?
Hmm.
And it happened again. So it happens every couple of months. People threaten, people are like, but I don't talk about crypto. Like when you see a wallet, I don't know why anyone would ever be like, I need to start buying crypto at this wallet. Like, who does that? But it's all these groups that are just trying to say that I'm scamming and things like that. It's really weird. So
Sounds weird. Yeah.
reevaluating what I'm doing and stuff like that.
So one thing that kind of makes me think of is leaving Twitter. I mean, a lot of the people who I respect have left Twitter, like Hank Green, for example, because that used to be the place where intellectuals gathered. Now I would say it's not. There's people who are like you, who are smart and add a lot of value in the no code automation space. And I think a lot of the PKM people are still there. But I think a lot of those people still kind of, at this point, cross post to Blue Sky and Mastodon. Mastodon used to be kind of that kind of place where it was pretty sketchy. I think it's a lot better now, but Threads has been a really great place. And while I don't go on there often, I try to check it out every so often, and I see a lot of cool tweets, a lot of cool people. And one thing I've been exploring recently and actively having to go on to because I can't just like automate it is Substack Notes. And so that's like the social network on top of Substack. And I met some cool people on there, some like multidisciplinary people. And while I don't necessarily want to pursue Substack, I actually made a video today where I'm like, Substack versus Ghost. What's your opinion? Like I was about to post it earlier before I went to my gym, but it's interesting because I was like, hey, I wonder if I should start pursuing Substack more because of the network effect on there. People are blowing up on there, and it seems
Yeah.
like almost everybody I know has a Substack newsletter and or at the very least a Beehive newsletter. But Beehive sucks. So
And to your point, when I was at the Craft and Commerce event, even when people had one platform because of the discoverability, they're using Substack as almost like another way to get them onto the other newsletter. So they'll
mhm.
do a couple, maybe once a week, not as intense, but basically the discoverability is it's really hard to crack the code of these things, and they've had it with Substack now.
I think for me it might have been a quality thing, but I did do that where I made essentially like a mini blog, like the micro blogs I called it back in the day, where it was the same kind of topics I talk about on my blog, and I tried to link to my main blog. I don't know if I just didn't provide enough value, but it really didn't grow very much. I think the swimming newsletter grew a lot better, and I actually did a personal journal on Substack back when it first came out, but
Mm.
eventually I moved all those to my Ghost site. Currently, I have my PolyInnovator Travels one on Substack. And so like anytime I take a trip or get a new travel bag, I try to talk about it on there. But I haven't really been
I like
consistent.
it. I think what I've seen is Substack is really good if you're super niche
Hmm.
of like something that you're and like we've talked about it. I think both of our content were more general where we talk about a lot of things, but I think if you triple down on a very specific topic, then it blows up. That so yeah, I was looking at it. I can't remember her name, Chanel. She's big in a couple spaces and
Yeah. No,
yeah.
she's a friend of mine.
Yeah. So she just popped off. She's using Substack and she was
Yeah.
talking about doing that as well.
She does a lot of LinkedIn stuff too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep. So again, I think it's interesting. And then one other thing is too,
It's funny that you
LinkedIn.
know her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I
It's
don't think LinkedIn
weird.
articles are that great. Do you think they are?
I don't, but LinkedIn pictures and video,
Mm.
that's where I see a biggest thing. Like when I do announcements, I like put it on like Twitter and like people are like, oh yeah, yeah. But like on LinkedIn, it can live for like 3 weeks of like so I did the documentary and I'm like, hey, I got selected for this thing. That thing just ran and ran and ran. I'm like, it's just weird to me. But anything that is slightly
Yeah.
interesting on LinkedIn does so much better than just the normal thing. I think listicles and things like that, I think it's pretty basic. But if you're celebrating and doing something specific, I think LinkedIn, and then videos. I still get people liking certain live stream videos I've done on LinkedIn like months later, which is
Mhm.
just fascinating.
If I see you come up, I
It's
try to like.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. LinkedIn is just it's its own ecosystem. It's very
Yeah.
interesting, but yeah, yeah, that's what I've got. That's what I've got.
It is interesting too when it comes to these different platforms. Like I really feel like TikTok is dying, and I know that they might replace it with another app here soon.
So I
Not even
heard.
going to get into the news and all of that, but just as a user of TikTok, I just don't have the capacity to enjoy it anymore like I used to. Or like
Mm,
I don't really make videos on there anymore. I post my clips to there, and I'm going to keep posting clips to there because it's pretty easy to syndicate. But it was just one of those things where I was like, this doesn't really matter anymore. I know people are still
mm-hmm.
growing and there's still a lot of benefit, especially if you're doing like live streams. Live streaming, I think, is really valuable on TikTok.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
unless you're doing live streams, it's just not really worth it. And I don't
yeah.
want to link my gaming stuff to that particular account, anyways.
Yeah,
Again,
they were talking about ByteDance is looking to have a new one that will be like TikTok's US operations. They still haven't really named it, but they're planning to drop it in September. It's interesting. I don't really get it, but again, you know me. I'm mainly on YouTube and think about LinkedIn, so
I will say I still stand by. I think Instagram is the best social media app.
Instagram is the best social media app. I had to say it again to make sure I was understanding. Tell me more. Tell me more.
I have been on pretty much every social media app since they came out, excluding Snapchat. But I did go on it when it first came out. I deleted my account, and then I went back on it when I made PolyInnovator. Then I deleted the account again, or the app again. But Instagram, ever since the beginning, has been one of the most engaging platforms. I have used pictures. Like when they're doing pictures, I was doing pictures. I never did carousels, but when they started doing stories, I loved it because I couldn't stand Snapchat, and I was finally able to do stories. And yes, there was that whole backlash how they stole the idea. Sure. All these platforms now do stories essentially. I remember when like Twitter did stories. That was really weird. And now they don't anymore, which is funny.
Yeah. I mean,
But like they have stories, so they have that feature. I make use of that like almost daily. There was a song I was listening today in the gym. It was a French song that had a techno remix, and it was really cool. I shared it, and whenever I host karaoke, I share a story saying I'm hosting karaoke, so people can know to come out. And so I like actively use that. I actively see people looking at my stuff. And then Reels. Reels has been really popping off more and more. And I've been saying this for the last few years. There was always a stark difference between Shorts, Reels, and TikTok. The vibes were different on each one, for one thing. But on top of that, there was a delay. Anything that was trending on TikTok, 3 months later will be trending on Instagram. And then 2 months later after that, like on YouTube Shorts. There was a huge delay. And now that delay, I think, has decreased quite a bit. But they're still kind of their own ecosystem, their own posts and trends. And even though there's things going on TikTok still now, though there was like a Brazilian Portuguese song that's been blowing up. I never hear it on Instagram, despite the fact it's all over TikTok. I hear it sometimes on YouTube, but my point is there's that difference there. And now Reels has this weird thing where if you like a video, I can see that you liked it. And it's weird. I think with your friends or something like that. And so there's a little bubble with you on the corner. And I don't know why I got obsessed with this, but I started like calling people out if they liked something really out of hinge, which I think made
oh
some people mad, but it
no.
was so much fun.
Oh
It was
no.
beautiful. It was just love stirring the chaos. And now they have
No.
a friend's feed, a friend's real feed. So in the corner, you can click on your friend's profile pictures, and then you have a feed of just what they liked. And I think that's so cool. Like it's so
I
social.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. It's so how do you use it? Do you use it for growing your brand more with your friend group, all of the above? How do you like using
Everything.
Instagram? Yeah.
I want to build and in fact I think that's really the platform I'm focusing on most. I actually made like 40 posts just the other day so I could try to schedule it out over the course of the next 40 weeks. And I'm trying, and then I'll just focus on making like a really great description to make those posts even better and to schedule it out so I can make sure I'm consistent. And then I'm going to keep posting more reels as well from these different interviews and talks. So I'm really tripling down on the brand that we're on right now. By the way, I changed the name.
What?
So PolyTools is still technically the username, but the name of it is the Content Polymath.
Okay. Okay.
I
Okay.
figured, links it better with
Yeah.
PolyInnovator.
Yeah.
I could put PolyInnovator off to the side and kind of forget about it for now. The gaming channel I might do a little bit with, but for now I'm just going to focus on this channel and this newsletter and really triple down on that and post a lot of stuff on Instagram and TikTok with this brand.
I love it. I love it. How do you feel with that?
I don't like niching down, but I want to grow, and I think this channel has the quickest route to growth, even more than the
Okay.
gaming, because I don't think I can pursue gaming enough to get to that level.
Well, no, I think this is going to be good. I was just, what was it? What was I reading? Lean Learning by Pethlin. And so I think that's a good
I love
indication or
Pat.
what to do. Yeah, so it makes sense. And, later on you can still pursue it, but
Mhm.
I think it makes sense if that's your goal and where you want to go and everything like that, for sure.
I wrote the outline to the Creator Renaissance book I'm writing for this channel. I tried to keep doing stuff for my swimming book, but I actually, since I've been working out so much, I started my exercise book finally. The generalist approach to exercise and or generalist guide. I can't remember the title right now. But my point is, I've been writing that relatively consistently. I just need to finish one of these books. I don't care if it's the right niche or not. I just need to finish a book so I can move on to the next one and start cranking them out. I'm thinking like once a quarter, if I can get a book out, that'd be really cool. Give some time to market and then get the next book out. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm excited about that.
Have you seen a site called, hold on, Social Growth Engineers?
I thought I did. Sounds familiar, but I don't know.
If you haven't, I
Micro
highly suggest
launch?
it. Let me see. What's going on here? Maybe? Possibly? I'm putting it in the
No,
chat.
the micro launch is the okay. No, I found it.
I sent it to you. Interesting, interesting. One of the women that we've been in the same space for a while, she kind of popped off using one of these things. I think it'd be really interesting. I'm going to just start doing experiments based off of this and reporting back. Very, very fascinating. I also find, I'm not sure if we've ever talked about it, social, like just going viral and how women explain it is very different than how men explain it, which is pretty funny to me. It's pretty
Mm,
fascinating. And so I like how she writes and what she's saying right there. So I want to try it out. There's a couple things, different formats, different things to try. I follow her on Instagram, and I've been seeing what Karima did with her stuff, and I'm like, man, I just need to. Let me back up and say one thing. I was talking. Did we even talk about how I met like Layla from Process Driven and all this stuff? So this was at Craft and Commerce. Like the last 2.5 months, like has just been a blur.
mm-hmm.
And so she's in a similar niche. She talks about operations and processes, not really tools and automation, if that makes sense. Like from the outside, people are like it's the same thing. I'm like, it's very different. And so she was working with this YouTube coach. I was telling him I'm like 56% search, 13% external. Like browse is 6%. And she's like, "Bro, I was the same way. It was the same way. Worked with this guy, basically flipped my numbers. I basically have grown at a high level because of him." And I had to really I'm still working on this. I'm really fighting it. But he's like, "Stop thinking you're smarter than like what the data is showing you.
Mm-hmm.
Look at proven formats and just copy what's working in the market. Just copy it. It doesn't have to be in the same niche. Just copy the same format, bring your flair to it, and that's it." And he's like, especially now where quote unquote the realness of YouTube is coming back, less production necessary. He's like, you can
Yeah.
really thrive in this because you're not looking at these huge, like, these cutscenes, B roll. He's like, those things are really fading out. So, like, this is the time. And he's like, just look at so we're using one of 10, which is a platform to look at like
I remember you mentioned
outliers.
in that one, yeah.
And he's like, look at the formats, look at what works for you, look at what your audience wants, and just copy the format. Like copy the hook style from Ed Lawrence, things like that, and just produce. So that's kind of leads into it if you want to talk about like descriptive. I'm trying to produce faster. I still
Yeah.
have an editor too, but I'm trying out a bunch of different things, different formats. So that's what for the next 3 months I'm worked on.
I think over the course of the show, like in the last 8 months or so, I definitely have mentioned I think Raw is doing better on YouTube. It goes in cycles every couple years, maybe even sometimes shorter, depending on like what's going on in the world. But I think Raw is really kind of where it's at, and I really just don't like editing. I can't stand it. As I've grown more as a YouTuber, I hate it more and more. And I know some people love it. I know that like I think if I did editing a lot sooner, I probably would have grown a lot more. For example, with shorts, if I did shorts back in 2022 before Opus Clip came out, I probably would have done so much better. Clips, I mean, like clips of these different shows. But I waited until a tool came out to do it for me. And I think that made a huge difference for me that since it came out. So thank you, Opus. But had I had it a couple years sooner, I probably would have done a lot better. But yeah.
Yeah, and I would just like to one point out, I have a client and Opus, I think, works really well and it can get you consistency. It can get, I mean, if you just don't want to edit it, there we go. But I also think dedicated shorts where you're really thinking out the format
The
is
sniper, bro.
still the thing.
Yeah.
Stop trying to flex your biceps. That's what he's doing.
I'm
That's
not
what he's
even
doing here.
flexing. This is
He's
just
doing it.
slow.
He's just trying to do it.
My
He's
arms
trying to
hurt.
do
I'm
it.
putting them up so I don't have to hold them up.
That is all the excuses I don't want to hear. And so
Now I'll
those
flex.
there we go. See, that's what was happening. I knew it was gonna happen. I think it's still we're seeing that you can hit a certain level if you're repurposing and using Opus, but if you're taking the time to do shorts really well, really tight, they're
Mhm.
still performing better. But I always say, like, what's the return on investment for people and like time and effort? Because I just can't. I just can't. I'm sorry.
No, so I would say I try to post like 10 a day. If I have a lot of clips, I'll post 10 a day. And I'd rather get them all out quickly than try to spread it out over the course of the week because I'm trying to do more videos in general. I think that I should just do more regular videos repurposed into clips than to make the clips more spread out. But my point is, if I post 10 clips and I get 5,000 views from all those clips, but I post one really special clip and I do 7,000 views, I think that for me, I'd rather do the shotgun approach of doing 10 clips than to do that one special clip. And you were talking about doing the one special clip, and that's fine. That's the way you like doing it. But you don't even like doing shorts in general. So it's like, can't really convince you to do it. But if you were to be convinced to do it and that's what you want to do, that's fine, especially since you get that extra 2,000. But for me, doing the 10 clips, it's really easy with Opus. And so it's like, yes, I'm doing more clips, but it's so convenient to just throw it in there. I do have to edit them. I will say I go in, I change a word here and there. Like when I mentioned Nuelink, it spells it Newlink instead of Nuelink. And so I fix that, or I fix maybe my name or whatever, and maybe add in a sentence here and there. Like some clips might be ranked 79 out of 100, but if I just add a sentence to the beginning or end, it'll go up to like 95 quality. And that's good enough
Yeah.
for me. As long as it's over 85%, in my opinion, it's pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Maybe even
Oh
80,
yeah.
actually, in some cases.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
not as
it's
picky, personally.
and I just think definitely
But that wasn't a jab at you, by the way.
no, no, it was. It was. It was a
It really
silent.
wasn't.
I think, yeah, I think there's just so many different types of creators and so much success. It just depends on consistency and the
Mhm.
format that you're trying to do. Okay, time check. Do we have what is that?
I got time.
Okay,
But
cool.
this is an Intel NUC, and my uncle traded a gimbal for me for it. And essentially, it's just a simple little mini PC. And since I had to send
Ooh.
off my main mini PC, I was like, let me use something else. Because I have this one from the company, but I still haven't made a video about it. And yeah, well, I made a video. I didn't make a video about Ubuntu on it. And so I can't really touch this per se unless I just get over myself and do it anyways.
Get
But,
over yourself.
well, I want to leave it blank. I don't want to mess with it so I can make a video of it out of the box.
Do it
And
tonight.
even then, it's not that. It's a lot more work than you might think, especially since I had to hook up the capture card to this PC, and I don't know if it's going to work.
Oh, wow.
And then I had the micro little mini PC. So I was going to tell you this. I had that Home Assistant device, and it needs a server for Home Assistant to run. And I have
Yep.
that little micro Intel Compute Stick computer. I painstakingly installed Home Assistant OS on that little computer so I could have a server running on a microcomputer. And then I had Linux on here. So I was trying to daily drive Zorin Linux instead of Windows. And I almost did. Like I almost was able to do it. With content creation, though, I can't use Melt Studio for recording. It does have OBS, though. And it does have DaVinci Resolve. So technically speaking, I could probably daily run
Why don't you
Linux.
use Meld Studio for recording? Why don't you just record it?
What do you mean?
Like Meld allows you to record and then you
But
edit in a
Meld's not on
different one.
Linux. Yeah. It's only
Okay.
on Mac and Windows.
My
OBS is
bad.
open enough. No, you're fine. You're fine. It's a good question. That way people can know when they're watching this video.
Say put in the notes, put in the show notes.
It's interesting because I kind of really want to switch over to Zorin. Zorin is so much nicer. It's such a nice OS and it's so clean.
What
And
is this?
Windows is so broken. I've sent you Zorin like 10 times at this point.
Yeah, but I just keep deleting it. Oh, yes. Yep.
Okay. Okay. It is the best Linux, I think, in my opinion. I mean, so there's some better ones if you're a techie, but this is like the best one for anybody who's like not into operating systems. But considering that Windows 10 is, end of life for the most part, and Windows 11 kind of sucks balls, Zorin is a really appealing option.
Your official review of it.
So, as a nerd, there's a lot of cool gaming news out here. This is just
Uh,
me kind of just talking to you out loud. At this point, I'm not sure if there's any more other tools we can talk about, but there
I'm
is the
talking about Descript.
Okay, we'll do that. But let me finish this Xbox thing. Xbox came out with the ROG Ally, Xbox Ally or whatever, and they're going to release it here soon. It's like a gaming PC handheld that's with Xbox instead of just ROG Ally with like Windows or SteamOS. And the really cool thing, Doc, is that Xbox finally had control over the Microsoft operating system of Windows. And so now it's an Xbox Windows. So you actually load into the Xbox interface. They stripped out a lot of the bloat from Windows to make it perform better. But then you have access to the Xbox Store, Steam, GOG, whatever app you particularly want to use, so all your games from all these different stores on one device. And it's a lot more minimalist processing wise, so it actually can perform better. I'm thinking if I get that OS off of that device, I could put it on a mini PC and create my own little Xbox, and that would be really cool. Granted, that's far in the future when the ISOs are available, but that is a cool idea.
Awesome. I love it. I'm looking into this. I didn't even know. Why are they doing this now?
They were already going to make their own Xbox handheld, but I guess they canceled that in the sake of doing this. They're doing like this thing where everything's an Xbox, and it's because of cloud streaming and stuff like that. But this is actually an Xbox branded device. It actually has a lot more quality to it. It's probably one of the most powerful gaming handhelds on the market. Well, it's not released yet, but it would be on the market. And I'm just really excited. Cause like if I were to get that handheld, that'd be really cool. But it's expensive. It's like $1,000, I think, for the higher end model.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Script, sir. The script.
All right. Well, first of all, I had to get more water. So pause one moment. I will be right back.
Hold on.
30 seconds. All right. So we're going to be talking about Descript, the good, the bad, and the okay of Descript. So we've been talking about this for a while. I think it has a lot of potential. Basically, they have a new beta feature for you to record in rooms and everything. They had another company that they acquired. You could do a lot of things, but basically they've shut that down for basically definitely. So I started recording this. I am doing a lot of my productions for my YouTube videos. I can actually send you one that's going to be going out tomorrow. This is what I discovered. Because it is cloud-based and I'm recording, I was on the road. I tried to record it with their app, their native app for Mac, and the web version, the cloud version. Both failed when I had a weak internet connection. Like it was just using the hotel internet. And
Is that
so
like an Electron app, I wonder?
I don't know. I have to look into this. I was so upset because I did one that was a 25-minute walkthrough and it didn't save. It just like it I can still see it as a project, does not work. And so I had multiple problems with it. And then the last one, I can't do anything about it. I recorded it, everything. It cut out some of the audio. Like I do not understand and I'm in message boards, I'm trying to talk to them and they're just like, it's your settings. It's like, okay, like I've never had this ever happen to me using StreamYard, and I can talk about the problems and the pricing of StreamYard, but I feel like this is a very basic feature that they're getting wrong. Or if there are limitations, they should just tell you, like, here's the optimal way you should use this. Here are the settings you should do, all of those things. I'll stop there.
So first and foremost, I think I'm a part of the Facebook group, and I've heard some random people comment about stability and stuff like that. The second thing, I wondered if because you are on Mac, that could be an issue. Like if you're on Windows, I wonder if it'd be more stable. Because remember we had the same kind of conversation with like Meld or OBS at one point or something like that, or Streamlabs, one of the tools.
Yeah,
and
the Streamlabs.
And then the other thing was, so you might just go on the Facebook group and see if there's some other people who had a similar problem, see if there's any solutions there versus like forums. And then I would just say, are you using Descript Rooms to record your solo videos, or are you using their regular recording tool? Because Rooms is like this. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, using their regular one and still having trouble with that, which I don't really understand. again, I still have to look into this, but I think if you upload and use it some of their features that they're rolling out so fast are really cool, but I'm not sure if they're really that stable. And I'm not sure if it's really meant for a full recording studio like they're touting. And that's where I'm like, oh man, there are a lot of limitations here that I'm finding out. Still, I will say for like post production, loving it. The way that it's cutting out, like you can have it because sometimes I'm switching scenes or something like that. It will cut out like dead air, basically. Any filler, you can say identify anything over 3 seconds, cut it down to 1 second. Cut out any filler words. Really great stuff that cuts down on all of that production of me like searching through things. But those are the things that I'm like, man, I wish that they could do more. The other thing is they just released a new beta feature where basically it helps you basically cut your footage. I can send it
The
to you right
highlight
now.
reels or whatnot.
This one is no, this one's almost like you can describe it. It's like, hey, I can say my opening for the first 20 seconds, I need it to be more engaging. And you can even tell it, how do I want it, like define engaging.
So I will say, I think Opus Clip and Descript are the two tools most prominently in the AI video editing space, and both of them have some really interesting features coming up. And I bring it up because I think they're both kind of going that agentic route. And as much as I don't really care for Riverside, I wanted to bring this up too. And maybe we could share your screen so we can kind of compare a little bit. But this is what it looks like when you're editing a video in Riverside. And definitely with bad internet connection, I can have a lot of issues with stability and playing and stuff like that. But they have like the AI producer stuff over here. And so I can like remove all the pauses or filler words. Sometimes with our audio issues we've had with our microphones, I can use like the Magic Audio. And as much as I hate to admit it, their Magic Audio sometimes is pretty good. Like Podcastles was terrible. I can't get Opus Clip's Magic Audio to really be that useful. It doesn't really do a whole lot, at least not yet. Sorry, team. I love you guys, but it just hasn't done much. And then I haven't used the Scripts audio thing, but even like Adobe Podcast, which is probably the best on the market right now, which they actually just released video editing, by the way. I think Riverside's probably the second place when it comes to that. And then Smart Mute, I'm not really a fan of as much. Smart Layouts, I'm not a huge fan of because of just how this sometimes, positioning of where you're at, right?
Yeah.
And then the eye contact thing, that's new. I haven't touched that yet. But
That's almost, do you want me to share mine?
in a second, hold on. There's also things like EQ, you can change the volume, and then when you're
I like that.
exporting, there's like you can normalize audio levels. So there's a few different things, and sometimes I'll go in here depending on the interview I do, sometimes I want to change the framing myself in DaVinci Resolve because of issues like maybe where you're over like too much or something like that. Or sometimes I'll actually throw it into Riverside, export it through here, not even doing any like AI producing, just literally getting it to frame it right and cutting out maybe pauses. Maybe I'll just do like the pauses and that's it. Sometimes it's pretty abrupt with all these tools to script, Riverside, Opus Clip, all the AI video editing tools sometimes can be a little abrupt with pausing. Depends on like how you want to do it. You can be a little bit more picky. I think Riverside is one of the unique ones when it comes to that. So I hope the script kind of copies that too if they have it. But yeah, besides that, that's really it. I just wanted to share that screen. Let's see what you got over here, buddy.
I like it. I like it. I like it. Let me share. Screen share here. Window. Okay. And by the
And
way,
time
have you?
wise, I'm good. I just figured, the more we share, the more clips I can make.
Oh yeah, perfect. Yeah. So this is basically you go into your project. You
Why
can
is the
decide.
aspect ratio? Do you mind making the window a little bit bigger so people can see it a little bit better?
Let's see. Let me try it. You know what? Let me do this real quick. Let me switch back and let me stop this. Let me switch something real quick. Let's see if this is better. Hold on 1 second.
I think because I have an ultra wide, it makes it a little bit easier. I just squish you and I over to the side. This is just kind of like fun to talk about as a content creator. I squish us over to the side to the point where it's basically taking up a fourth of the screen, and then the other 3/4 I can use as a normal kind of like 16:9 monitor, and that's what I usually do for screen sharing to make it more better aspect ratio.
Oh, I like that. Hold on 1 second.
I want to get a newer monitor at some point that's bigger, like a 34 inch. maybe 1440p, but it's just so expensive, and right now income is not the greatest. That's the thing. All these bills keep hitting all at once, and then the conferences are coming up, and then on top of that, my website hosting is coming up too.
Oh, please don't talk to me about that. I'm
And
paying like
Ghost Pro,
400.
I'm paying like 360 or 300 something like that. So I feel your pain. I kind of want to go over from I'm using Ghost Pro, the official service, but it limits how many newsletters I can have, and I technically have like 5, and I would like all of them to be technically available if someone wants it. Yeah, that's a lot better.
Is that better?
Yeah.
It's another monitor I use. But there,
Mm-hmm.
one of my friends is like, the monitor, your secondary monitor looks like the monitor at the end of a computer lab in high school that no one liked using. I was like, that's oddly specific and that
Go on Marketplace
hurts.
and get a new one. I actually got a portable monitor so I can have a.
I mean, look at that. Okay, so basically you can at the top you can change if you're looking at your script, if you're looking at your scene editor,
Mhm.
timeline and everything. So you can go like say for instance stacked. So then when you're going through the actual words right here, you can play. I don't know if you can hear that, but
Mm-mm.
it's going through and if you look at this, let me mute it so I
Not
don't
sure
have
how I feel about this UI. It
you'll
looks
see
like
in
a
a
lot
second.
more snappy than
Yeah.
I do kind of like the
Now,
transitions there.
if you're looking at it too, when it's
It's
switching back and forth,
a lot more snappy than Riverside.
then you're going over here on Overlord, and I'm like, that's when I was like, I need it to the next 20 seconds. I need it to be more engaging. And it's like, okay, I'm going to go back and forth. I'm going to add text, da da da. I'm like, great. So a lot of the times I'll go ahead and do that. I can look at the AI tools here. So this is where I can do like edit for clarity, studio
Chapters.
sound, remove filler words, remove retakes, shorten word gaps, add chapters.
I think the retake's probably really interesting because that kind of removes the need for having Gling or like Firecut and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the eye
Mm-hmm.
contact thing, I think that really it's pretty important to note that Riverside and Descript both have the eye contact stuff because
Yeah.
if you don't have an NVIDIA GPU, you can't do it on your own computer because AMD
Mm-hmm.
just doesn't really do it. And I think that's kind of a big deal. And then generate an image is interesting because I know that Opus Clip's one of the only other tools that can do it. I think there's one tool that literally does B-roll only, but like, yeah.
Yeah. You can, yeah, generate an image. You can do green screen, blur, speaker background. You can repurpose, create clips, blah, blah, blah. I don't with this one.
I would play around with the highlight reel. When I saw that last year at Podcast Movement, I was pretty impressed.
Interesting.
Like either the highlight reel or fine highlight. I think the highlight reel is what I was thinking of. And I don't know. It was like a
Interesting.
combination of a whole bunch of stuff together. That might be an interesting way for you to make like higher quality shorts if you just want to
Yeah.
do here's all the big things from this latest video and then link that short to the latest video. And then you're not really doing like clips like I'm doing, but you're doing like a special clip each time you're posting.
I like that. I like that. You have find highlights, draft a title, summarize, so you can get a concise synopsis of your stuff and you can
Mm-hmm.
use that for YouTube or whatever you want. Draft show notes. So this really, really helps you with just like all of the other things you have to do into production.
Yeah.
You also for like brainstorming, writing the script, writing the outline. It also comes with a teleprompter if you're going to go live as well. You can have another window.
I will say Riverside has a teleprompter too, by the way.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm not defending Riverside, by the way.
No, no, no.
Just anybody watching in. I am pretty tool agnostic unless it's something like Opus that makes a huge difference. But man, like Descript is coming such a long way.
It has. Like that's why I didn't like people were like you should switch. I was like, that thing? No. Because I remember it like 3 or 4 years ago. I was like, this thing, like if I was doing a podcast, yes. But it's really I just hope it doesn't become bloated like Canva, where there's just
My
so many
gosh,
things
Canva
that's
is.
just
Do you have an
trash.
alternative to Canva? Because I am actively
No,
looking around for something.
I don't. I don't. There's a couple other ones that people like it's either a one-time payment or free. It's I forget the name of it. I've seen a lot of creators do it. I'm just like the learning curve. It's like a less coherent Photoshop, and I'm like, I just don't have the time, nor the like. I just know Canva too too well to just go and pick this other thing that is inferior. You can do a bunch of arrows and basically, I say basic edits if you want to add basic effects, things like that during it. So, and I mean, I don't do anything more than what I need here, usually in CapCut, really, but I'll take all of this. If I'm
Given
adding
CapCut's
sound
issues,
effects,
that's like
oh yeah, that's a whole other thing. So yeah, I mean, I think I'm doing 85 to 90% of the production here. Then I'll put
hmm,
in CapCut just at the end if I'm doing sound effects or like
hmm.
really specific things that I want. Yeah, but I would say the vast majority. And the first time it took me a couple hours to do it, but now I'm down to like recording and editing a full video about 15 minutes. A 15-minute video, I can edit it in less than like 45 minutes with
That's not
everything.
bad. Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I'm working on.
I was gonna bring up Recast.studio because they have a lot of interesting features, but they just, they locked me out of a lot of my old projects, and I'm just not really gonna deal with that. Yeah,
I didn't know
that's
about
that's
this recast studio.
yeah. We talked about it before because it was one of the only tools before Opus Clips. It was Chopcast, which is still pretty
Oh
good,
yeah,
but Chopcast has kind of not really done anything since then. They kind of focus more on services rather than the tool. Recast Studio added a lot of cool features, but now with Video Tap, there's kind of competition in the space. And so it
yeah,
was literally like Chopcast, Recast, and Repurposed.io that were like the only tools on the market for the longest time. And then Opus Clip and all the copycats of Opus Clip came out. Descript came out. Riverside tried to copy a lot of the repurposing features. Podcastle did a little bit too. And it's like nowadays, I'm still excited to find a new repurposing tool, but I don't really see a point for a lot of them because there's kind of so much overlap now.
yeah. No, no, you're right. You're right. I think yeah, there's. I think we've been saying this for a while now. I keep paring down on all the different tools,
Mm-hmm.
then trying to. I experiment with only a few, and then go from there. I'm really dialed into just the ones I like, and that's about it. Although I'm on Product Hunt quite a bit to check, like just to see what's up, but I don't dive in or put all my eggs into those things.
There was a tool that I want to shout out. I interviewed the founder on my show. What is it called? What is it called? Hold on, let me find him. Wow, why can't I'm drawing a blank? Crap. Share screen if I can. There we go. If it would let me. Thanks, Riverside, for being difficult. All right. So CrossPass, kind of like a new link tree, if you will, but has a ability to actually it's a new pin site. I don't know if you remember we kind of complained about Pinsite. Pinsite had a lot of issues when it came to just the availability of how to organize things, and I just didn't care for the interface and the constant pushing towards paying for pro. But CrossPass is interesting because you can actually like charge for different products or do different calls, and it really prioritizes like getting calls with different clients and having them pay for you. And so you can have it basically as your link tree. So you have all your links underneath it. But at the beginning, you have all of the different little things like here's my product, here's my calls and whatnot. I'm trying to see if I can find an example. I mean, this is kind of basically what it looks like, but hold on. There should be, yeah. Well, yeah.
I have one more idea, possibly.
Okay.
If you don't want to do it, just tell me. But this is also what I want to. Can we talk about looking for content? And okay, this is a random thing. If you say no, we can just end the episode and I'll go cry and do it myself later on. But have you heard of something called Gummy Search?
I don't know
This
how
was
though.
It was a long time ago. Basically, this guy, Gummy Search, he aggregates all of the different subreddits and you can search what's going on. But then he also has like an algorithm to rank and tell you like insights of how engaging each post is. Like, then you can even then do another layer of like, how could you do a story about this? How can you start talking about this? And I am thinking about using that in creator hooks to see if I can start building a library or something where I can start creating content rapidly based on what's happening in Reddit versus any other news source. Would
I've
you
seen
like
a
to try this?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like there's been a few tools kind of like that for Reddit and just kind of like finding the top posts and stuff like that. I will stand by this. I said it earlier this year. I think TikTok and Reddit are the platforms that have the news the quickest. And like Twitter doesn't even come close to both of them, in my opinion. And it's interesting because Reddit is the place where like the front page of the internet, it still has that kind of value. You talked about like going on Product Hunt. I go on r/micro/ and r/side project to find cool stuff. And it's just like I feel like that is a good idea, especially when it comes to there's certain posts for like the polymath subreddit that I think would be like really interesting for me to make a post about on YouTube on the PolyInnovator channel. Or like I found some interesting things about streamers. I actually made a video recently because I saw a post on Reddit about this streamer talking about like wanting to multi-stream or learning how to do stuff. And so I made a video response of that post, like just talking about the questions the kid had and like making a video about it.
So do you want me to try to show you what I'm thinking about doing, or is this another
Let's
episode for another day?
I think it's another episode, but let's tease it by talking about it first.
Okay. I think what I'm planning on doing is using Gummy Search to start looking at different interesting subreddits.
Okay.
From there, I am going to look at what is happening in those groups. And I'm going to, like, say, for instance, I have AI interests. I have 25 subreddits that I'm putting under the AI interests. From there, what I'm going to look at is like the top topics of what people are talking about, looking at themes. And there's a section where you can look at patterns and sentiment. From that point, I'm going to use something called creator hooks, and I'm going to start categorizing what kind of topics or what kind of triggers I'm going to be doing based off that. So the different triggers that you can do would be like curiosity, desire, beginners, new, constraint. You can use different triggers that you're seeing. And I want to put them in different categories and just see what I can do from there. The topics, I'm going to then go on YouTube. I'm going to use one of 10 and look at what's going on in my own industry. What are similar topics? Are they getting a lot of search volume? Look at what outliers they are. What's that one of 10?
Mm.
And then I'm putting out a list, and then I'm just going to batch record these kind of videos.
Interesting. I think it's a great idea, actually, especially considering your niches. I think even for me, I'd be kind of like not as successful at it because of just like the polymathy thing not being as big, but I could do things like the generalist and multi-potentialites as part of that group. But then like with the content creation stuff, I would probably like merge the YouTuber stuff with the streamer stuff, with the podcasting stuff into like a different group. Like I would have all three into one group. And it's really interesting to think about the holistic view you could get from that.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. So again, to be continued. I'm gonna try to do just a dry run or see what happens this weekend. Maybe I'll be able to articulate it better the next time we talk. But that is what I have on the docket to try to move the ball forward, and
I love
that's what I
that.
got.
Anything else you want to leave for the rest of the people watching?
No, I saw F1, Superman, and Fantastic Four all in a couple days span.
I saw Fantastic Four. I haven't seen the other ones yet. I heard really good things about all three, though.
I did. Yeah, I enjoyed it. F1, probably my favorite of the year so far.
Wow.
Surprisingly.
Yeah.
It's
The
very surprising.
soundtrack I came across on Spotify.
It's
Okay, hold on.
intense.
One more thing. K-pop Demon Hunters.
I heard that it just popped off and people love it.
You
I
should
haven't
watch
seen
it.
it.
You should watch it.
They're already planning sequels. They said it already hit.
Planning multiple sequels, a live action,
This
a
is
series.
crazy.
It was really good. It's also Sony Animation, so it's people who made like Spider-Verse and whatnot. So
That's
it
wild.
looks really cool. And then the music, what I think is really interesting is I think they basically copied a lot of the best K-pop songs and remade them in the theme of the movie. But it's like a lot of people singing, I think, are people from those different bands that they copied. Or at the very least, it's owned by the same company, so there's not like any infringement per se. But there was like some really cool tonal riffs in some of the songs, and then there was very cool vocals in another song, and they put it together into a new song. And they did that for pretty much almost every song in the movie, and there's a lot of them in the movie. And they, first off, it's the number one watched Netflix movie ever, which is insane. And all the music popped off on the Spotify charts like crazy. And even before I watched the movie, I listened to a few songs on repeat because they were that good. I like K-pop, but I mean, even if you didn't, they were really good.
Yeah.
People sang like the last 2 weeks of karaoke. Last night and the last week, someone sang a song from that movie at karaoke.
That's wild. That's wild. All right. I'll take a look at it. I'll talk to you next time.